So there's some significant changes coming to the residential real estate market in Indiana beginning on July 1st. And if you are a home buyer who's looking to potentially purchase a home here in the near future, or if you're a homeowner who's potentially looking to sell a house in the near future, you're going to want to pay attention to how these changes are affecting you. Make sure you watch this video through to the end. And again, stay on top of what is happening in the residential real estate market, because these changes will affect the way that we buy and sell properties here moving forward. Now, instead of doing a whole hour-long video on the changes and how they affect everybody in the real estate transaction, I decided I'm going to break it down into a couple days of content to make it a little bit easier for everybody to digest. So today I'm going to give you a quick, brief overview of what the changes are beginning on July 1st. Tomorrow we'll discuss why these changes went into effect. On Wednesday, we'll take a deep dive on the buyer side and how it affects the buyers moving forward. And on Thursday, we'll take a deep dive into home sellers and how it affects you selling a property here moving forward on July 1st. Now, it's a lot of content, so you're going to want to make sure, in order to stay on top of it, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification tab, so you are notified when these videos come out here. This is some important stuff here. There's some significant changes that we're not used to moving forward, especially on the home buying side. So you're going to want to pay attention. Trust me. It's some important stuff here as we move forward with July 1st. So changes July 1st. Indiana created a new law that beginning on July 1st, a home buyer who is working with a realtor, before that realtor can enter into negotiations on that home buyer's behalf, you have to enter into a signed, written buyer agency agreement with that realtor. That is a state law beginning on July 1st. Now, there is another rule coming on into effect from the National Association of Realtors that will take effect nationwide later this year, that takes that rule a little bit further, to where if you are a home buyer and you want to be represented by a realtor, before you even look at a property, you will need to enter into a buyer representation agreement with your realtor of choice. So before you even walk through a door, that signed representation agreement must be in place. Now, the state law takes effect July 1st. The National Association of Realtors rule takes effect in August. But in Northwest Indiana, our local association, the Northwest Indiana Realtors Association, decided that in order to help eliminate confusions of two separate dates, they were going to combine these changes into one date and have everything effective on July 1st. So in Northwest Indiana, beginning July 1st, if you are a home buyer who wants to be represented by a realtor when purchasing their property, you will need to enter into a written, signed buyer's agency agreement with your realtor of choice. Again, that's July 1st. Home buyers who want to be represented by a realtor must have a written, signed buyer agency agreement in place before we can open up the door and step into a property in Northwest Indiana. Now, let's talk about that buyer agency agreement just briefly. I'll take a deeper dive into it on the Wednesday session with talking about home buyers. But this buyer agency agreement, what it is essentially a contract between the home buyer and their realtor of choice. It will have a start date and an end date that's negotiable. It will discuss our legal obligations as a realtor when representing you as a home buyer. And it will cover and discuss the compensation to the realtor, how we're paid, where it's coming from, when it's going to get paid, and that compensation is negotiable. So again, I've got to repeat this because it is important. Beginning July 1st in Northwest Indiana, if you are a home buyer who wishes to see a property, you must enter, let me repeat that. If you're a home buyer who wants to see a property and be represented by a realtor, you must enter into a written, signed buyer agency agreement, which includes a start and end date, the legal obligations that realtor has to you when representing you as a home buyer, and the written compensation and how that realtor is going to be paid, and that compensation is negotiable. We cannot show you any properties until that is in place. So as a home buyer, it's going to come to a shock to a lot of you, because a lot of times we, in this rapid, fast-paced market, we've gotten used to just picking up the phone and, hey, I want to see this house. It just came on the market. It's perfect for me. Let's go. Well, now we need to take a step back and, most importantly, understand what you're signing before going into a house. And that I can't stress enough. So home buyers, it's going to be more than just a call. Hey, I want to see this house. I think best practices moving forward would be to actually sit down with a realtor of your choosing and to discuss, to see, number one, go into detail on that buyer agency agreement, make sure that you understand it, and more importantly, make sure that realtor is a fit for you moving forward before you sign that contract with them. So again, the important things to remember is that those dates are negotiable. It's a contract for a start date and end date, negotiable with the realtor of your choice, and that the commissions are negotiable. Always have been, always will be. So with that said, moving forward, you're going to want to make sure that you give yourself additional time when viewing properties, and make sure you understand what you're signing with your realtor before you go out to look at homes. Folks, these buyer agency agreements are not new. I call it a significant change just because now they are going to be mandatory by law. But realtors for years, including myself, have used these buyer's agency agreements with a lot of success. As an industry, I believe we got away from them over the last few years, probably more than we should have, just due to the fact of the pace of the market and how rapid it was moving. And it was, hey, I want to see 123 Banana Street just came on the market. It's perfect for me. I lost out on 6 houses. Let's go. Well, now we're getting back to a little bit more normal of a market, but more importantly, I think it benefits the consumer when we sit down and actually explain the home buying process and what to expect moving forward before we go out there and view homes. So I do think this is going to be a positive, but we'll get into that more down the road here into future videos here. But again, just remember, starting July 1st, if you want to see a house and be represented by a realtor, you need to enter into a written signed buyer agency agreement with that realtor if you're looking to be represented in Northwest Indiana. So if you have any questions at all, I know it's new to all of us. It will take a little bit to get used to on all sides. But if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Leave a comment below. Also, make sure you follow along in the coming days as I take a deeper dive into what this means for all parties involved. So again, July 1st, folks, very important. Remember that if you're a home buyer, and reach out anytime with questions. Better to ask than to be surprised as you move forward there. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.